The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Donald, nice to have you join us.
Thank you, Greta.
All right, Donald, you're stirring up so much trouble every time I turn on the TV, whether it's on The View or other places. You are demanding a birth certificate from the president. Why aren't you satisfied that he has been born here in the United States?
Well, the fact is, they ask me the question, and I say, I want to see his birth certificate. It's very simple. Somebody asked me today, could I see your birth certificate? I had it in my hands in less than an hour. You have a birth certificate. People that are born in this country have birth certificates. So I wanted to see his birth certificate. I mentioned that on The View. And Whoopi, who I like very much, who's a friend of mine, I did a movie cameo for her, as a matter of fact. But Whoopi said, oh, but if that were a white man, you wouldn't be asking that question. I said, what does this have to do with race? Has absolutely nothing to do with race. The fact is that if you look at what's happened with respect to this birth certificate issue, he doesn't have it. He spent millions of dollars on lawyers trying to get out of the issue. They give what's called a certificate of live birth, which doesn't even have a signature on it, and anybody can get a certificate of live birth. It's nothing to do with a birth certificate, and they are really reeling. Now, they talk all sorts of things. You don't have a doctor or a nurse. Here's the President of the United States, and no doctor, no nurse, nobody's come forward saying, I delivered that beautiful baby. There's so many things. Even if you look at the newspaper, the so-called newspaper article in Hawaii, that was days after he was born. So that wasn't like when he was born. And if you really think about a couple of things, whoever took a newspaper advertisement, and these were poor people, these aren't rich people, whoever took a newspaper advertisement to announce the birth of your baby. Now, I don't think you know of anybody, and I know of nobody, and I know poor people and rich people, but I've never heard of taking a newspaper ad to advertise that you have a baby. So that's one. And then you have this beautiful governor, a Democratic governor, that says 50 years ago, he remembers, okay, he remembers when Obama was born. I'll bet he didn't even know the parents 50 years ago. I think it's absolutely insane. What he's doing is taking a bullet for the party by making a statement that I remember. So I've been into this issue for a couple of weeks, and I'm starting to get very concerned. The fact is, if you're not born in this country, you cannot run for president. If Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to run for president, he's a friend of mine, he's a good man. If he wanted to run for president, he can't because he wasn't born in this country.
Here's my thought on it. First of all, I don't know about the article, whether you had to pay for the article or not. As for the birth certificate, frankly, although I'm not running for president, I haven't seen mine in years. I have a passport, and the president has a passport. Having traveled at one time, I had to surrender a birth certificate, and so I suspect the time when he got his passport, he had to provide a valid birth certificate. And the other thing, too, is that this is the most incredible. This doesn't hurt the Democratic Party. This is how they're raising funds. They're using all this controversy to say, oh, look, please send money because the Republicans are going after him about his birth certificate. So this is a great fundraising device for the president.
I don't think it is at all, Greta. I disagree with you 100%. I see what's going on over the Internet. I see the questions being asked. People have never, you have to understand, it's a terrible term, the word birther. You know what a birther is? All a birther is a person that wants, these are great Americans in many cases, in most cases. They just want to see that the president was born in this country. They want to see that the president actually has a birth certificate. And I don't think it's helping him at all. And I wish it did help him. To be honest with you, I want him to have a birth certificate because that would mean that his presidency was, I guess you'd have to say, illegal. You have to be born in the United States. I hope that he was born in the United States. I hope that but I want to get rid of the word hope. I want to know for sure. I hope that he was born in the United States, and I hope this doesn't become a big issue. But I will tell you, if you look at the Internet and you look at the kind of questions, this is not an issue that's popular for them. Believe me.
All right, now let's turn to...
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.